capitalism that it must expand. A no-growth capitalism, as some of our more naive ecologists have argued for, is a contradiction in terms. The reason you invest is to accumulate. And your accumulation of capital has no purpose or meaning unless you can mix it with labor to yet increase your wealth further. And of course, you use large sums of it for personal consumption and for political power and for control of your culture and for that wonderful, good, happy life that you so like. Now, that nature of expansion really affects the nature of, it's an important imperative because it means capitalism also can never stay home. It goes abroad. If you ever saw the film Controlling Interest, there's a corporate president who says, those corporations that stayed regional in New England years ago and decided not to go national, we can't even remember their names. They died. We had to go national. And those of us who are now national know we have to go international. We have to invest abroad. So one of the laws of capitalist motion and development is this inexorable expansion. And that means expansion into an expropriation of the third world. A process that's been going on for about 400 years, perpetrated by the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the Dutch, the Belgians, the French, the English, and most recently, most successfully, most impressively, by the Americans. That is by the ruling classes of these countries, not by the ordinary people. The ordinary people simply paid the costs of empire. The ordinary people simply sent their sons off to die on the plains of India or in the jungles of the Congo or in Latin America, wherever else. But that expropriation of the third world that's been going on for 400 years brings us to another revelation, namely that the third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Most countries are rich. The Philippines are rich. Brazil is rich. Mexico is rich. Chile is rich.
Welcome to another episode of You Left Shit Out. I'm your host for today. I'm Jay or CJ. Starting out with Michael Parenti. This is from Means TV. Check out Means TV. Just a great clip. It's an old clip, as you can tell, probably shot in the early 80s, it looks like to me. But the message that it delivers is still as crystal clear this exact moment as it was when he said it. But let's do a quick chat check, a quick like check. We'll start with our chat check. Today we have a good number of topics. Let me see if I have them written down. Where am I? Oh, right here. All right, so let's see what I have written down. So let's do that. Then I'll do that chat check. So let's go over what the topics are today. I'll put up the graphic in just a minute. Yeah, let's do it now. I guess I can put up the graphic now. So on the front on the graphic, we have Ilhan. We have Ilhan. We have Ilhan and Pelosi. Almost got tongue tie there. And the stories we're going to cover, of course, is Elon Musk takes over Twitter. The Pelosi house has been attacked, and I already see comments. It's like I see one right here on Rockfin saying that definitely a false flag MAGA attack, and that's from Krampus, Krampus, watching us on Rockfin. So I'll tell you what my opinion is. And then Ilhan Omar is in the news. She's another squad member that has been targeted by protesters. So we're going to talk about that. And so that's what's on the graphic. And then just broadly kind of talk about how squad members are being targeted. And I'm loving this. I think more just, because when you think about it, what, Jamal Bowman, AOC, Ilhan, Ayanna Pressley, They just need to keep doing this, or not they, we need to keep doing these types of actions. And then we got two short stories that were added at the end. Chuck Schumer caught on a hot mic saying that Georgia's not going too well. The president landed in Georgia. Chuck Schumer was there to greet him at the tarmac, and caught on a hot mic saying something along those lines. So we'll also talk about that, and then if we get time, want to discuss how there's a discrepancy or a dispute that they're trying to make seem like it's nothing, but the difference of opinion clearly indicates something to me. I won't say what it is, but Emma Vigeland kind of clowns Cenk Uygur in his efforts to support Richard Caruso down here in the mayor's race in LA. So we'll discuss that also, and then just kind of being vigilant with updates to see if anything drops while we're in the stream, because sometimes the section of the day that we do our stream is a lot of times a lot of news drop. So sometimes that news drop in the middle of the stream. I also want to shout out our fundraiser. We're raising money for the event we're going to be doing with the Watts Community Corps. They're going to be hand out food every week. I think twice a week they have a program. They're supported by people like Brad Pitt and Flea from Black Eyed Peas. Not to say that celebrities makes this great, but to say that she does have people that's funding them, and she wants other organizations to join. She just called me out of the blue after the summit. We had her on the summit to tell me she was so excited to do this joint thing with RBN. So she told me it may be around the 18th of November, her event. She wants to do it a week before those Thanksgiving so that the people who are volunteering are able to spend time with their families, is the reason why. So roughly around there, if things change. So that's the target. So we got a couple of weeks to raise some money so that we can contribute. We're also going to be this fundraiser is also for people. Not that one. This one. This fundraiser is also, we're going to deliver some food and maybe some blankets to Skid Row. And then we're also doing this new thing. We're going to do this pilot program, bill payment program, where we're going to go to one of the housing projects, either the Nickerson Gardens one or the one in Long Beach, the Carmelitos, and just go door to door asking for any material needs and any of their utility bills. And we'll raise funds to try to help pay some of those bills of those families. So if you're able to contribute, please contribute there. You got Venmo and you got Cash App that you can contribute. All right. So let's now get into the first topic. I think I'm going to have to do Ilhan first, because I was trying to set up the show and have everything already set up. And I was doing Ilhan, and I realized, wow, I have so many things to show about the Ilhan story that I have 11 windows open, and that's just on her story. So I have to do this one at a time. So the next story is not prep. So I have the Ilhan prep. So that's the one we're going to start with. But I do want to get your comments before I begin to talk on the story. So give your general perspective on Ilhan. If you haven't heard, Ilhan received protest when she was speaking at an event, and a protester interrupted her about the same thing, talking about the funding of the war. So what's your general take on that? You can take it any kind of way you want, and I'll put those thoughts up in just a moment. Like this video, we're at 146 people watching. We have 61 likes. Can we push that to 125 likes? Let's push that to 125 likes. Maybe we can get some people in here who like Elon Musk versus people who don't like Elon Musk, and we can have a very spirited debate in the chat. when we get to that. And also, I want to hear if you are in Ilhan's district, if you have any thoughts on the story too. So I know that's a lot. So we're liking the stream, getting that to 125. We're also dropping your comments about the Ilhan story. That's what we're going to start with. And I want to get your comments before I actually begin my sort of presentation. The last thing before we get started, join our mailing list if you want to get notifications of streams just like this, or the stream Nick just did a couple of days ago with Glenn Greenwald. That was completely not scheduled. And if you're on our mailing list, you would have got a notification about 2 hours ahead of time that we're going live with Glenn. And you would have been able to chime in live with Nick and also Glenn. If you would like to do that, join our Substack. All right, let's get to the first topic, and that is Ilhan. Ilhan. Let's put, oops. Let's keep it simple. I think this sums it up. Ilhan Omar sucks. Let me fix that. Ilhan Omar sucks. That's pretty simple. It's straightforward. It's to the point. It covers what we're talking about. So let's see what everybody's saying about Ilhan. Let me see where her initial tweet is. Is this her? No. Like I said, I have so many tweets up. Okay. So it starts with this one. Okay, so let's see if I could put up Ilhan's tweet. And then we'll start with that. The black drop. Is this it? Yeah, I believe this is it. So this is Ilhan quote tweeting the protest video. So this is the one we're gonna start with here. Now let's throw out some comments here. I see a lot of Ilhan. I mean, a lot of Elon. Did I say it the wrong way? I was looking for comments for Ilhan Omar. I'm sorry. Did I say Elon? Maybe I said Elon. If I said Elon, my apologies. Ilhan Omar is everything I come to expect of what a progressive Democrat is about. That's bad cookies. Chiming in on that. So yeah, throw your comments about Ilhan, not Elon. My apologies if I said that the wrong way. Here goes another one. Ilhan finally took the mask off, her final capitulation to liberalism and their E-list talking points. Thank you for that comment. The squad, more broadly, the squad went from being a disappointment to being our enemy. That is a very key point. I'm going to start that one for later. Oh, wow. Thank you. God bless RBN. General take, they just won't listen. I'm seeing a super chat notification, but I'm trying to find it. So give me 1 second. I didn't realize I had so many comments. Everybody's excited. So thank you for liking, because it actually drove some people here, because the comments kind of all jumped in. Thank you for the super sticker. I thought it was a chat, but it was a super sticker, just as good. Now let's see if we got some more comments on Ilhan. Ilhan is just another example why the progressive strategy will not work. We need resistance, not compromise. This is just such an important point. I'm going to start that for later too, because I'm going to use it the conversation. Ilhan is just like all the other pro-war neoliberal progressive dim exit is the hashtag. Ilhan Musk loves Ilhan Omar. It's kind of a tongue twister. Any other comments on Ilhan? Let me see. Scroll up here. Ilhan abandoned Somalis, all you need to know. And we're going to be covering that video along with an article that talks about that very thing. Because she kind of this is not a card. She's trying to use her identity to shield her from this. And we're going to show how people in her own community see her as a traitor. And we'll show you that. We've covered it before. Ilhan is the propagandist here. Great comment. Ilhan and Elon. Kind of a tongue twister. Last one I'll read before we get to the tweet here. Ilhan, just another sellout fraud. Ilhan done more for the environment than anyone human in history. I didn't know that, if that's true. But we can talk about that when we get to that story. I guess we'll do that story next. We'll do the Elon story next. So Ilhan, Omar first. Elon Musk will be the story that comes up. So on the screen, where am I here? Yeah, I believe this is it. We see Ilhan, and let's actually go to the video first. So let's get a context for why is she, saying anything. So let's play the initial video first, and then we'll go to her quote tweet. Yeah. Is it this one? Okay, here. I think I'm in the right one. A lot of windows. I gotta keep them straight. So let's listen.
You are supposed to be a progressive Democrat, anti-war. Anti-war. 80 billion to Ukraine is not anti-war.
We are helping Ukraine defend themselves.
Ukraine is killing its own citizens.
Helping people
in the Donbass.
War. We are helping children like me that have been held. So unless you have not been paying attention to what is happening, there are millions of Ukrainians that have been displaced. There are piles of bodies that are being found in mass graves.
So she says, unless you haven't been paying attention, and then she does speak a fact of there are casualties. But you see the use of this, and this is what a propagandist does, the use of that fact in response to what they're saying gives the listener the appearance that I'm funding something noble in saving those people. When she knows that's not what's happening. She knows this money is going to weapons manufacturers. She sees the bills. In fact, she knows what it is before the bill is passed to send this money. Not the bill, but before the packages are sent. And some of the bills too. Because they have to authorize the money to be sent. So for her to use that at this moment does speak to her being a propagandist to me. It does speak to that point. Because I could also say that, or the protester could also and said the same exact thing she said. There's millions of Ukrainians dying, blah, 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 blah. All because the U.S. instigated a war and encircling Russia and expanding NATO and overthrowing an elected leader in 2004. You see how the person who we should be blaming is NATO and the U.S. for those casualties that she's bringing up. So for the person who made the comment about her being a propagandist, this speaks to that point. squad, etc., owned by money, bankers, elites, globalists, big donors, PACs, i.e., APAC. I always try to say that the acronym, but let's just say APAC. Money runs the show. That's Marvin Vargas. Thank you, Marvin. I don't remember the name, so I'm assuming you're one of our new list watchers, or at least a person to donate. So thank you very much for your donation. Let me make sure nothing else came. I didn't have that screen up. I had the video screen up. So let's finish to listen to how she uses her identity. Now you understand how imperialism can be insulated through the use of identity politics, which could be the reason that imperialism or the ruling class is fine with putting people's faces like Barack Obama now, the face of it. Because if you critique Obama as an imperialist, guess what you are? And that's what she's trying to do here. Let's listen to Ilhan finish out her attempt of using identity to shield her from the point.
There are little children whose lives are being lost.
By Zelensky.
Here.
Yeah, by Zelensky in the Donbass.
Right. And the guy trying to chime in, that's the person is Zelensky.
But unless you are.
And Zelensky is a puppet of the U.S. and NATO. So let's be clear. It still goes back to U.S. and NATO.
Someone like me that has been that child, you do not.
So she has been that child, which is true or could be true. Which makes it even worse that she's doing this to me. It's like me growing up in the hood, watching police brutalize people, killing people, and then me going being a politician and saying I want to go ahead and fund the police more. And then I'm going out saying I'm noble because I want to fight crime. No, I'm a traitor if I do that. In the same way that she's doing this.
Do not get to tell me what my votes mean. And
you see how she's saying, because I was a person in conflict, by the way, that was created and facilitated by the United States, you can't say nothing to me.
How I get to vote in supporting people who desperately need support.
Then you got some Democratic bootlicker in the fucking audience that wants to start the clapping. A Democratic bootlicker. Don't you love those ones? The one that always wants to protect Massa. So let's zoom out on with that tweet. So that's what started it all, and that's by the same Jose Vega who we brought on here for the AOC tweet. I mean, sorry, the AOC protest, because he was physically the one who went to that. I don't think he was the one here. He just posted this. So let's see what her reaction is. Now she didn't give this thing a half. This thing is at 500,000 views.
Anti-war.
500,000 views here. So let's look and see what she said. Let's see what Ilhan's response was, and then you'll see what the response was to her. So this is Ilhan. I'll blow it up a little bit for those seeing impaired. Okay, so yeah, I think we can see it pretty good. I think I'm right. Yeah. So Ilhan says, "I'm sorry." This is sarcasm. I'm sorry. You all aren't anti-war protesters. You are dangerous propagandists who are literally making a mockery of the anti-war movement. I have never had the pleasure of responding to the ridiculous internet disinformation in person before. Thank you for the opportunity. Oh, and she goes on. I didn't even see this part. And she says, I am amazed at the nerve that some people have to not be upset that the country literally waging war, but at the country defending it and those helping them. She's talking about the United States. So we have progressives now who are describing the war as some sort of heroic thing that we're doing. So progressives are okay now with funding the Ukraine, sticking up for NATO, funding NATO, sticking up for war and imperialism and proxy wars, funding Israel and the apartheid state. And we're going to update the way we call Israel. Instead of apartheid state, we're going to call them a genocidal state, because that's what the Palestinian network who was on our summit said. That's being nice, apartheid state. So progressives are all fine. And then John Fetterman adds fracking to that list. So let me finish reading this bullshit. I was never told by one of these people tonight, it's America that started the Russian war. I was even told by one, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. I was even told by the people tonight, it's America that started the Russian war. These are leftists. These are leftists. We are in fucking trouble. We are in fucking trouble, boy. This is our best hope. This. And some people would say, when we were when there was a lot of critique about Pramila and OLC, they would always fall back on Ilhan is the strongest one out of all of them. I like her. This is Ilhan. Not acknowledging and refuting and acting like it's not the U.S. who instigated and started this. That's what we got. Fiorella's right here with a comment. Let's see what Fiorella says. I take it you mean being anti-war to mean supporters the world most hegemonic empire, the most disastrous organization in NATO, and funding billions of dollars to a country run by a U.S. puppet and paramilitary fascists. You should know this. Is the money so good that you forgot? That was a body. That's a body from Fiorella. She goes on. Ilhan supports terrorists in Ethiopia. That's what some of her Somalian people from there don't support her in her community, her own community. So it's no surprise she supports fascists in Ukraine. Her own Somalian and African people have turned against her because of her lack of backbone and support of NATO intervention. So she's already showing, and this is I guess a meme. It's okay, I'm Jewish. So let's pull up another tweet here. So I showed her tweet. I showed a couple of response. Yeah, because I want to go to some specific quote tweets. So I don't want to just go through the list of quote tweets. So let's bring up the next one here. So let's go to. I'm telling you, there's a ton. Let's go to Danny. So this was Danny Haifang. Friend of the show, friend of the network, been on a couple of our summits, International Imperialist Summit, General Strike Summit. He was in attendance or a speaker at both. So let's go to his tweet. So as you can see, he's quote tweeting her. And there's a lot by a lot of people you're going to recognize in these quote tweets. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Piece of something. It might be raspberry. Got some raspberry this morning. I'm gonna get some water in a second. All right, so let's read. I guess none of my family's home because I just called to ask for somebody to bring me some water and nobody responded. But that's okay. Danny Haifong says Ilhan Omar is spreading Russiagate disinformation to avoid answering legitimate questions like why she would sign off on arming Ukraine when this has brought the world closer to nuclear war. When progressives sound like neocons, they're probably just neocons. And that's Danny Haifong. We have hit our target and exceeded it. We're at 150 likes. If you could like this stream, let me take a little coughing break. Like this stream as I take this short coughing break. We're at 150 likes. Can we push to 200? There's 270 people watching. 270 people watching. Let's push to 200 likes. All right, feel like I got it out. All right, so back to the story. Ilhan sucks. I just read you Danny Haifong's tweet. Let's bring up some other tweets here. I'm not even gonna go in a particular order. I'll see whichever one I haven't brought up yet. Let's go to Jimmy Dore's tweet. So this is Jimmy also responding. Let's close Danny so I can close some of these windows here. I want to make sure I close the wrong one. All right, so let's see where did it go? Jimmy says, and where is Jimmy? As you can see, quote tweeted here, when you completely betray every progressive value as you support the war machine to the brink of nuclear annihilation, you pretend the protectors are the, or maybe he meant protesters. Protesters are the problem instead of the evil machine that already swallowed you whole. I'm wondering, what are all of their supporters thinking of this stuff here? Like, you can't be feeling good about the Justice Democrat strategy. You can't be feeling good about the squad, about the progressives. It's just one terrible story after another in the last 2 weeks, maybe expanding 3 weeks. But that's Jimmy's response, and we're gonna go to another one here. So that's Jimmy. Let's pull up another one. Not Max yet, because Max's tweet has a lot of things that we're going to go a little more detail in. So let's go to Margaret's tweet. Now, Margaret brings up an old tweet of Ilhan that sort of makes her response to the protesters hypocritical. So, oops, where is it? That one. Here it goes. So here is Margaret Kimberly, friend of the show, friend of the network. Actually, I think Nick is going to have her back on in the next couple of weeks. He says he's going to reach out to her. So she says, I guess she forgot about this tweet. Now, let's look at the tweet that Margaret is pointing to. This is from Ilhan Omar back March 8th of 2022. Let's read it. Nice and big for me. The consequences of flooding Ukraine with billion dollars in weapons, likely not limited to just military specific equipment, but also including small arms and ammo, are unpredictable and likely disastrous, especially when they are given to paramilitary groups without accountability. But since somebody's protesting her, she forgot about this. She forgot. That's all, Margaret. She forgot. That's what happened. It was just a slip of the mind. So that's Margaret. Let's go to another one. I thought I had a Jamu tweet here. I thought I did. Maybe not. Let's go to Ryan Knight chimed in. Let me close some of these so I can make sure I covered them. Okay. Now I know who this other one was. All right. So I will go to Mick. We'll get our international cover. There's a lot of people that chimed in here. Lots of people chimed in. Okay. Jimmy is the one I can close. So here is Ryan Knight bringing up the same tweet that Margaret did, but I still want to hear what he said. Let me read what he said. Just 7 months ago, you tweeted how dangerous it is to flood Ukraine with billions of dollars of weapons. You were right, and now you have become a full-blown pro-war, pro-NATO propagandist. Peace talks and diplomacy are the answer, Ilhan. Sending more weapons only causes more war. And then same picture, and points out the date. So let's go to another one. And this is our international. So Claire and Mickey, I think that's his name, who are part of the European Parliament, I believe, or European government, who's always chiming in, the guy with the white hair. He chimes in also. Where is Mick? Here he goes. Mick Wallace is his name. So what say he? Where is it? And then we're going to end with Max Blumenthal, because he also has the article and the video of Somalians booing her with the and also Jimmy Dore covered this with the actual reporter of the article we're going to be reading. That reporter went on Jimmy Dore. She wrote it for the Gray Zone. So we'll get to that in just a second, but let's read what Mick. So our leftist is so terrible that international real leftists who speak truth to power every day are calling them out. You know it's bad when it's like, man, this shit is getting crazy. They're not even pretending to be anti-war anymore. The weak left, we got to call them out. So Mick Wallace says, let me get the actual, because I said her wrong. I said she's part of the member of the European Parliament. So that's the name. I said she was part of I said Claire Daly was part of the Irish Parliament, and that which was incorrect yesterday. So let me read. Voting to support the warmongering Democrats to escalate. So he's just saying in general, all the Democrats, to escalate the U.S. NATO proxy war in Ukraine is not an anti-war position. So all the leftists, all the Jacobin readers, all the national DSA people, all the TYT. Let me read that again for you. Voting to support the warmongering Democrats to escalate the U.S. NATO proxy war in Ukraine is not an anti-war position. It is a pro-war position. Rich people don't die in war. Do you care how many of the underprivileged Ukraine die? Why don't you give peace a chance? And that's to Ilhan Omar. Do I have? Oh yeah, and then we're gonna end here with Max Blumenthal's tweet, because Max brings up again what happened with Ilhan in her own community. So let's go to his tweet. Max got two for Max, but I want to start at the right one. All right, this is the right one here. So look, we're just go through all of Mac's thread right here. Actually, what was going to cover them in 2 separate windows, but let's cover it now. Actually, let me see what the chat looks like. If anybody's commenting on here, if you're having your own comments. I see a super chat. Sorry, I wasn't looking. State Department doesn't negotiate, just threats plus sanctions. Thank you, Marvin, again for a super chat. Love, Mick and Claire, me too. Really putting our leftist politicians to shame. Get Mick Wallace and Claire Daly on RBN. That would be absolutely fantastic. Maybe we could try to make that happen. Yeah. We'll see if we could try to make that happen. Okay, so here we got somebody blaming the USA for the Ukraine invasion is stupid. So go ahead, everybody, do your thing. Love this white guy. I went out of order on that. I don't know which order you were just saying that part. Let's let's now go to Max Blumenthal's tweet here. Let me close that one. So wow, I've narrowed down a bunch of video. I've narrowed down to about now 9 windows. All right, so we're here. I believe this is it. Do I have any other ones up? Let's close that one. So I don't get anything mixed up here. Yeah. All right, so here we go. What is this one? Okay, that one I can close. Wow, now this is manageable. Sorry, everybody. I'm just excited. I got these windows closed. Let's read what Max says here. Ilhan Omar displays the same contempt for her own constituents who protested her for meddling in Somalia politics on behalf of her clan, that is the Democratic Party. While sending arms to Ukraine, she's backed the TPLF's war versus the government of Ethiopia, a mockery of the anti-war politics. And this is the article we're going to cover, but let's watch the video first, and let's go on with the tweet. Back in March, Ilhan Omar sounded a lot like the anti-war protesters she demonizes today as Putin puppets. Her rhetoric then was purely performative, while her actions ultimately reinforced the objective of the empire. This is why we call them the fraud squad. And then he kind of goes into the same thing. But where is, I'm sorry, maybe the video. Oh, I know what it was. The video is in the article. So I do have the article. Oh, I'll bring it up now, I guess. So let's bring it up now. Let's bring this article up now. Is that it? Yes. All right. All right. So this article, which appears on the Gray Zone. Wow, I did have it up. All right. Well, one less window. Is it still up? Yes. All right. So sorry. It's closing one window, opening the other. This one here titled Ilhan's meddling in Horn of Africa earns bulls at Somalian American concert. This was written by Ann Garrison. And like I said, if you want to go watch her actually talk about this article, go watch the video she did on the Jimmy Dore show. Just type in Ann Garrison, Ilhan Omar, and Jimmy Dore. It'll pop right up, whether on YouTube or DuckDuckGo or whatever you use, Google. All right, so let's read a little bit of the article here. And this will tell you who Ilhan Omar is if we're just finding out. Actually, let's play the video, then we'll read some of the articles. The video's here. Let me make sure I'm able to watch it. Oh, wow. It opens it up in another window. So, sorry, my apologies. I will share it in another window in just a second. So it's a link. I thought this was a direct video, so it's a link here. So I'm going to come back to this article, but let's go to the video part. It opens up in Twitter. And here it is. This is the video. This is her in her blue headgear. Not headgear. I forget what you call these, but this is her with the blue thing on her head. And then this is Somali artists. I forget which one it is. They hear the boos and they try to calm down the boos. The boos are very loud. I'm gonna have to turn the sound down a little bit. So let's watch. Hajib. So I forgot that's what it's called. So my apologies. All right, so let's get back to the video. As you can see, they don't want to hear nothing from this sellout piece of shit. So let's listen. Do you go home? Do you go home and go, those boos are just, that there was a really cheers. Like, how do you internalize that you're at a Somali event, your people, I'm in Compton, and those people are booing me? Not a general boo, booing me specifically because I did something to Compton residents. All right, so it looped back over, but we saw the video. You saw the boos. Let's now go back to the article and read a little bit about what actually happened at this event, and more importantly, why are they booing her? So let's read why are they booing Ilhan. And what's coming up next is the Elon Musk story. I believe this is the article is the last part of this segment. Let me make sure it's being seen clearly. So, okay. All right. So let's read. Framed by Republican media as a backlash against Omar's woke politics, the boos of a Somalian American crowd expressed growing anger over the congressman's role in U.S. meddling in the Horn of Africa. Ilhan Omar was greeted with vigorous boos during a July 2nd concert featuring Somali singer Soldan Sirar in, I believe that's Sirar, it could be, in Minneapolis. The boos was so profound and so sustained that it was impossible to mistake it for cheering or all the thumbs down for thumbs up. It reportedly went on for 10 minutes or more, punctuated with "get out" and "get the fuck out of here." Ilhan smiled, gesturing at the crowd to tamper down as though the adulation was just too much. Her husband, Tim Mennett, stood at her side looking awkward and confused. Then someone who seemed to be a concert manager gestured at the crowd more empathetically to tamp it down. Some say the boos went on even longer while Ilhan went through the process of presenting Soldan Sirar with some sort of award. The singer shifted uneasily from one leg to another, seemingly startled and unsure what to do. They reached out to gesture out at the crowd, also asking them to tone down their gestures of disapproval. This seemed to be more than he had bargained for when he agreed to share the stage with the Congresswoman. So let's scroll down here and talk about why they're having this. Then it's going to get to it right here, but I do want to skip over some of this. So Ilhan, an African immigrant and the only Black person on the subcommittee besides Bass, is a shoe-in to become chair if Democrats hold on to the House, which they're not, unlikely as that may seem. Many Africans shudder at the thought, however, not only in Somalia, her country of origin, and the rest of the Horn of Africa, but also in the African Great Lakes regions and in the diaspora from both regions. When I organized a Twitter space discussion with Somalian American activists on Ilhan's record, I heard an outpouring of anger, not only over her perceived neglect of her district, where violent crime is surging, but also over her role in the removal of Somali President Mohammed Abdullahi Mohammed and support for a candidate affiliated with her personal clan, the Democrats. This was but one of the examples the congressman's role in advancing U.S. meddling in the Horn of Africa. And I'll read this a little bit here. Ilhan Omar meets the Kagame and Tudro as they plot against Ethiopia. That's the TLPF that I mentioned earlier. In October 2021, Ilhan traveled to Rwanda as a guest and of its authoritarian president and war criminal Paul Kagame, a darling of the global elites. She then proceeded to vote against a House resolution to call on Kagame to free political prisoner Paul R. You see it there. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. David Himbara, a former economic advisor to Kagame, and Tom Zellner, author of R's biography, slammed Ilhan in a Minnesota Post op-ed, writing that her relationship with Kagame threatened, quote, to throw her entire stance on the U.S. criminal justice system into a light of hypocrisy. So this is what her own community is saying about her. And that's Ilhan Omar. I think we can wrap this segment that Ilhan Omar sucks. Everybody knows it. Progressives can no longer, progressives like in media, specifically TYT, Majority Report, all of these networks, all of these reformists. What are they going to do now when they don't have these people to look to as, hey, they're doing this, really? They're our best shot. This is our best shot. Supporting the genocidal state of Israel, supporting this proxy war, and also pushing Russia's gate propaganda, as Danny Haifan pointed out. So there you go. So we're going to now move to the next story. And I do have a video for this next story already prepped, but not the tweets that I want to show. But let's at least start with the video. And I'm going to get some from the right, some from the left. So I'm going to also play a CNN or MSNBC clip about this. But this is Fox News, Fox and Friends, talking about Elon Musk. And Elon Musk taking over Twitter and maybe the reaction. Elon takes over. That's enough words. Elon takes over is the next segment. Okay, so let me do a couple of things here. Let's pause in between segments. Let's make sure we get our likes up. Let's make sure we join our Substack too. Nick recently did a stream with Glenn Greenwald, and that was completely unannounced. If you weren't on our Substack and YouTube didn't notify you, you just missed out on watching that live. So join our Substack if you want to get notifications of clips that we upload and of live streams that are coming up. Join our Substack. Also, like this stream. We're at 222 likes, and we have 346 people watching. Can we push to 275 likes for this Elon Musk story? Let's get this debate going. I'm assuming it's going to be a debate in the chat, because even on the left, there's people that think it's good that Elon is taking over Twitter, and inside the left, there's people that think it's bad. So I'm sure we're going to have disagreement here. Give us your take on Elon before we start. So like the stream. Let's get the stream to 275 likes, and then also put your comments in for this upcoming story on on Elon Musk taking over Twitter. So I want to get your comments before the story could shape what you think about it. So toss your comments up about Elon Musk taking over Twitter and just the fallout, the reaction on the liberal side and the reaction on the conservative side. Like the stream, let's get it to 275. Join our Substack. I forgot to post where we're at with membership, but we're very close to 24,000 subscribers. Let me see where we're at here. Oh, during a stream, we have reached 24,000 subscribers. Wow. 24,000 subscribers we have reached. So 24,001 we have reached. And I'll toss that up. So thank you. Join today. I'm going to post this in our chat, in our Signal chat with the other RBN members here. Also, Sabby will not be streaming tonight. The guest rescheduled, so she will not be streaming. But yes, we've hit 24,000. Like this stream, join or subscribe. Now let's get into the Elon Musk. Elon takes over Twitter, and we're gonna start with this video of Fox and Friends. It's 4 minutes, good as short. Fox and Friends talking about some of the things that Elon has already done. Elon Musk fires Twitter executives after officially taking control.
Freebird. Elon Musk has officially taken over control of Twitter, ending months of legal disputes with a $44 billion check he cut. He is bringing big changes on day one. He fired the social media giant's top 3 executives who were reportedly escorted out of the building. I'm sure they're getting plenty of money to leave. Here with reaction, somebody who knows all about money, Forbes media chairman and editor-in-chief, Steve Forbes. Steve, good morning to you. So what's the first thing that, aside from let that sink in, as we saw Elon Musk yesterday carrying in a sink, what's the first thing he's got to do?
Well, he's going to talk to the employees today and probably reiterate about how this is going to be an open platform. He's also got to reassure advertisers that he's not going to destroy the site, that it is truly going to be neutral in terms of opinions on it, and not have the kind of blatant censorship you had with the previous executives. And no need to feel sorry for those previous executives unceremoniously left or escorted out of the building. The CEO gets a $42 million payout.
Right.
The CFO gets $25 million. Jack.
Are you hearing the payouts that these people are getting? You're hearing it? They're getting tens of millions of dollars to get fired. I've never heard of this firing where you get tens of millions of dollars. I would like to get fired like that. I forgot to play your comment or show your comments. So let's show your comments before we get too deep into that. So let's look and see what have you been saying about Ilhan here. It's great that Ilhan bought Twitter. This is what Raymond says. So what do you think? Do you think it's great that Elon bought Twitter? Let's see. Elon still finances Starlink for informational warfare for Ukrainian Nazis, so it's hard to not call him complicit. I stopped using Twitter 15 years ago. Yes, if Ilhan brings DD back, I'm all for it. So that is one of the things that has happened. I heard that all permanent bans, he's reversed all of those. I think Donald Trump should come back. I would love to see Donald Trump back on Twitter. Love to see that. He's too much of a corporate person. Just check out he runs, or let's just say how he runs Tesla. Thank you, RBN. Elon Musk will not save you. Stop worshiping billionaires. So Punky Pinko says, stop worshiping billionaires. He will not save you. So like I said, there are some different opinions here in the chat. So thank you for liking. I believe we're trying to get to 275. It brings more people, different opinions. Did Elon fire the censorship department of Twitter? I believe the person over that department. I believe so, but we're going to listen some more to a couple of interviews here where it talks about what happened. Okay, so RBN talks about anti-war. No one speaks fluent anti-war in Africa than Press Isalas Afowaki of Eritrea. Yes, thank you. Should be called Hitter instead of Twitter. NAFO trolling, waste of time. Let's see, any other Elon comments? How long you think it took the genius at Fox to come up with Freebird? Open platform and neutral means racism and transphobia. Now, what we say here on this channel is we could do it either way. One, I don't think that's what open platform means. I don't. So that's my way. So when we say either way. So now let's take it your way. Let's say what you're saying is true. This is what free speech is. And I'm fine with that. Like, would you prefer a racist in person burning the cross, or would you prefer a racist behind a keyboard? I don't follow racists to know what racists have been on Twitter before all of this focus on getting on censoring social media. Racists were already on it. I never knew until now because I don't move in those circles. Racists move with other races. That's fine. If a racist says something to you, block them. It's over. Just like any other harassing person who's maybe not racist, but they're harassing you about the topic you're talking about. Let's say you're talking about bus drivers and that person is now harassing you over that. You just block them. It's just a different subject. This subject now is racism. Just block them. I don't believe anybody should be taken out. I mean, I guess if a threat, maybe a threat can be the threshold where like, I'm going to come to your house and kill you. I guess that could be a threshold. but certainly the threshold about your opinion, and your opinion can be that I'm a racist and I hate niggers. That can be your opinion. Yes, the block button is good for racists. I use it. I literally mute and block people every single day. So Elon runs with other felons. They all do. They're called billionaires. That's the other name they use. Here's I hope I haven't missed any other super chats here. I marked this one. I'm going to read this one. I was just banned on Twitter. Wow. Where is that? Is this it? Okay, this is it. Elon is an oligarch, and as such, he will always put his own interests first. I plan to test out his commitment for free speech. This is somebody open mind, but he makes the correct Rhino makes the correct assessment. And thank you for the super chat. Elon is part of the oligarch. Do we think the richest person on the planet right now is gonna go ahead and say fuck my whole class and let's fuck this shit up? Is that what we think is gonna happen? Being slightly better than the zealous liberal Democrat censorship, being slightly better than that don't make you free speech. So him bringing back saying don't ban people, you know what I mean? These people can do this and that. That doesn't mean he's all out, black fist up in the air. So let's not take it there. But thank you for your super chat. Oops. Meant to hit the down button to go all the way down. Yes. Oops. Yes. Eli is a capitalist. So let's go back to the video. Let's listen some more.
Jack Dorsey, who founded it, gets $1 billion in cash. So no tears need to be wept over this one.
Yeah, no kidding. He has even said that he overpaid. Is he ever going to make his money back on this?
It's going to be tough to make this rocket ship work. Get it really off the new Twitter off the launch pad. Because it was twice as much. Twitter was never a great moneymaker, even though it was founded years ago. Never enjoyed the kind of stock market rise that other companies that were founded about the same time. So it's always been trouble. But if anyone can do it, he can. But it's going to be slimmed down, and he's got to he's going to make sure that he's got an audience that's real, to reassure advertisers.
Right. And let's see if conservatives return to Twitter. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about Joe Biden. He was up in Syracuse yesterday, taking credit with the Democrat governor of New York State for the...
So we'll pause there because they go to another story, and we're going to pick up on some other clips about Elon. But first, I want to take it to Twitter so you can see the reaction of people. I just typed in Elon. Is this it? Let me see. It is this one. So I just typed in Elon Musk Twitter, and here are the items that's coming up here. So let's check it out. Where are we? Here we go. So top. Elon Musk may own Twitter, but who owns Elon Musk? Okay. Mike Wallace, Elon Musk is going to turn Twitter into the #1 social platform on the planet. So that's somebody completely buying into Elon Musk making this better. So let me make this a lot bigger so we can see these better. All right. Now you can see those a lot better. All right. So let's continue. Huge news. Elon Musk has confirmed he is looking into the algorithms and removing the shadow banning on Twitter. I don't know how real that is. Let's click on it and see if there's an article attached or somebody attached an article. Yeah, I don't. Let's see what video they put here. I'm curious to see what this video says. Let's listen.
They have been working on an edit button for a year.
Well, it's a tricky situation.
And it's incredibly complex.
Yeah, it's a good one, indeed. I mean, we don't even have an app that's as good as WeChat in China. And like in China, you can like live on WeChat, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, everyone's like, like you live on WeChat, you do payments, you do everything. It's like, yeah, it's great. Basically, WeChat's kick ass. And we don't have anything like WeChat outside of China. So I was like, my idea would be like, how about if we just copy WeChat? Hey, copy them.
Buys Twitter, copies WeChat.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I don't know what that person was trying to illustrate, but there's that. Let's continue. Breaking: Elon Musk will be forced to pay the 3 fired Twitter executives nearly $200 for their early exit pursuant to their contracts. So that's just all their money combined. $200 million. And here goes this guy. Elon Musk, I'm looking forward to changing here that will better respect the spirit of the First Amendment. However, I like to bring your attention to how Twitter content moderators turned a blind eye to violent extremists using this platform to organize violence and illegal activity. So he makes that, I don't know what that is. So here's a rep, Daryl Issa. If Elon's support for free speech is a problem for Twitter employees, they shouldn't be surprised when they aren't asked to stick around. Okay, here goes one. Occupy Democrats, completely liberal shield. Breaking. The Washington Journal reveals that over a dozen top advertisers are ready to pull the plug on their advertising spending on Twitter ads the second that Elon brings Trump back to Twitter. Retweet to thank the advertisers for holding Elon Musk accountable. This is just vomitous garbage from these people. And I'm not even a Elon guy. I literally don't know anything about the guy. I don't know anything. I purposely avoid learning about this person. I don't see any pertinent videos, so we're gonna go back to YouTube to look at CNN's response to this, particularly to what some of the firings that have taken place. And some people are labeling it firings or exitings or something like that. I find it hard to use the same word as firing if you're getting paid, several tens of millions of dollars. It's just so they departed. That's what happened. They departed. So let's go to where is it? Here we go. Let's close this one. I'm gonna go to my subscription and see just if there's any new things that have recently landed that I'm not aware of. Okay, it doesn't look like. All right, so let's go then to Elon Musk and let's check out CNN first. We want to get the corporate take on this. I could bring up some of their content, but because of what happened to Nancy Pelosi, that's kind of the top thing that's taking all the stories. You can see these are mostly Nancy. Those are 3 Nancy stories. I don't see Elon, not recently, because they're on this. So let's try MSNBC then. Let's see if they have anything. Now, this doesn't mean they haven't covered it. It just means they haven't put it on Twitter. I'm sorry, on YouTube. That's all it means. So it looks like they have covered it though. MSNBC. So we'll get a liberal's perspective here. So Elon Musk. Wow, they are really pulling out the stops to try to get people to come out to vote. Where is Elon? Okay. Okay, so I just saw it. Hang on, everybody. Oh, right here. Oh, anyway, it's right here. I guess it wasn't take service, depart. Okay, see how they describe it in this one? They just say depart. They don't say
Tonight is it appears
like
that
something
Elon
like he fired him. So let's see how Alex Wagner describes it here.
Breaking news tonight is it appears that Elon Musk has sealed the deal to take over Twitter. CNBC's David Faber was the first to report tonight that according to unnamed sources, the deal is done and the current CEO and CFO of the social media giant have left the building and will not be returning. The Washington Post reported that the two executives were fired, along with two others, including the head of legal policy, trust, and safety. Tomorrow is supposed to be the deadline to finalize Musk's $44 billion acquisition or face renewal of the lawsuit that was meant to force him to make good on his offer to buy Twitter. So the on again, off again Elon Musk era appears to actually be beginning for real this time. And it appears that Musk will get the opportunity to use a sink he was seen carrying into Twitter headquarters yesterday for reasons that remain unclear. And this morning, he tweeted a message to advertisers using way more than 280 characters, I must add, where he promised that, quote, Twitter obviously cannot become a free-for-all hellscape where anything can be said with no consequences. Musk has already fired the head of legal policy, trust, and safety, so we will see about that free-for-all hellscape promise and whether a certain Twitter account that once coined the term kofevi is coming back.
So you saw that one. We're gonna watch another one, very short also, or not as short as that one, but this one kind of goes a little bit more into the issue they have with Elon Musk. I didn't see the clip here, but I think I saw this.
Good evening.
Actually, Stephanie Rule is one of the worst ones I can't stand. So let's listen to this person here.
Once again, I'm Stephanie Rule. We're going to get to the political news in a few minutes, but we want to begin this evening's broadcast with breaking news. Elon Musk now officially in charge of Twitter. The takeover is complete. With us tonight to discuss, Elizabeth DeWaskin, the Silicon Valley correspondent for the Washington Post. She broke the story tonight. And Kara Swisher, expert on all things Elon Musk and an editor-at-large of New York Magazine, co-host of the Pivot podcast, and On with Kara Swisher. My friend Kara, it's official. Musk is in, top executives are out, and the far right is rejoicing. What are we in for?
Yes. Well, there you are. It kind of says it all. I think it's going to be really difficult. Is
the far right rejoicing? Where do you get these far right? I don't know. Where are you seeing these far right people and they're rejoicing? Are they? They could be. This is not a setup question. I don't know. Are they rejoicing? Do we have any far right people here? You want to raise your hand and tell me if you're rejoicing? The description. Come on.
He's bought it for 3 times what it was worth. He can turn it around. He's got a big. It's the Mount Everest of turnarounds for sure. And he certainly has got to bring in some people who are decent at figuring out a business plan for this company. He may not care, but he still doesn't have unlimited funds, and so there's a lot of debt on the books. There's a lot of things they have to pay off, etc. And as rich as he is, it's an upward climb for even Elon Musk.
Elizabeth, you're the one who broke this. What else do we need to know? And is Trump returning soon?
Well, we're all preparing for that moment, and certainly the right is rejoicing. I think one thing last week we reported that Musk was planning on potentially cutting up to 75% of Twitter staff. I think what Kara said is right. He's got to figure out, this company has always had outsized influence on politicians, on journalists, but it never made the revenues or the profits of rivals like Facebook and YouTube. So he's presented a lot of rosy pictures to investors. He's floated a lot of plans. He says he wants advertising, but it doesn't really add up. So if he actually is going to make the company functional and profitable, it's a huge uphill climb, and especially if he plans to fire so many people, which tonight's, massacre, Thursday night massacre kind of shows that's the direction he's going in, cleaning house.
Kara.
She described getting paid tens of millions of dollars as a massacre. That's what she describes. All right. We're gonna be winding this down in just a minute here, this Elon, and getting to the Nancy Pelosi story. But let's listen a little more.
Kara, he already had the Twitter megaphone. He didn't need to buy it. He knows he's paying way above market. This is happening while Facebook stock is tanking, and we know he tried to back out. So does he really want this thing?
Well, he had to buy it. He did a contract. I mean, everyone was like, oh, I can get out of it. You can't get out of a contract like he had with that. So he had to buy it. So he's trying to make the best of it, presumably. The problem is he's facing a really tough headwinds, really good companies that make profits. And by the way, Elizabeth, Twitter doesn't make profits. That's one of the problems with it. It's been really struggling its entire time. And its stock has had almost no purchase since it was founded, since it went public at least.
And all of you knew all of this years ago, and you still use it and refer to it on your news. But since Elon Musk, now all of those bad things are things that we need to have at the forefront that needs to be fixed right away. When you've been using these platforms this entire time with all of that problem there, the hypocrisy of these people, and they just tell you right to your face when they're hypocrites. They have no shame. They find some sort of piece together some sort of bullshit logic to explain their position and, call it nuance. That's the new cover word for a lot of this bullshit. Let's continue. Actually, I want to bring up a different one. I don't want to hear these people talk about this shit no more. I do want to go to, I believe, that is cool. That is cool. The one that's done a story. Let me see. Yes, that is cool. Somebody else I wanted to watch. Let me just make sure I'm not forgetting. Humanist Report. Was it this? It was not. Oh, I don't know how I got that wrong. All right, so let's play this next video. Wow, The View. This is why I like checking this. So let's listen to The View. We'll let this be the last video, and then I think I have a little bit to read.
Elon Musk.
So a little bit to read in an article, but let's listen to The View cover this story. And let's hear.
Elon Musk.
Now remember, this is the channel of the liberals, so they hate the right. Remember, they're part of the blue-red game. They're dead in the trenches. So let's listen.
Took over Twitter. A billionaire, Elon Musk, just declared the bird is freed, quote unquote, as he officially took over Twitter. He owns it. He paid $44 billion for the social media giant and already fired 4 top executives, including the one who permanently banned Trump. Musk calls himself a free speech absolutist, but promises he won't turn Twitter into a free-for-all hellscape where anything can be said with no consequences. Really? I mean, it's pretty close to that now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is he going to do anything to fix that, or is it just going to be continuously free for all? What do you say?
I think it's going to be a free-for-all hellscape. And I imagine
people in Palestine are listening. Palestinians in Palestine, in the Gaza Strip, are listening to well-off, manicured, petty bourgeoisie capitalists use the word hellscape to describe Twitter. Why are you keep logging into a hellscape? Like, is this serious? The way we're describing what's happening? I'm just wondering, where is all of this stuff happening on Twitter that we need this, that they're saying? Where is this? Like, I feel like I'm on Twitter a lot and I don't see any of this stuff that they're talking about. Let's listen to how she describes it.
Imagine that Trump will return to unleash his vitriol. Others that have been
unleash his vitriol. You see those words, those adjectives? Unleash the vitriol. Like I said, I want Trump to come back. I would love to see Trump back on Twitter.
That have been banned will return to unleash their vitriol. I'm always conflicted about the issue of free speech, which doesn't really even apply here because he's a private owner.
Right.
But, you know, I learned in law school that
Explain what free speech really is.
it's really, you know, it's the First Amendment. It's the freedom to express yourself. And
not be censored by the government.
Without being censored by the government. And what I learned was you want to protect the most.
You don't get, whatever her name is, she was trying to make the point that be censored by the government is all free speech. It has nothing to do with being censored by Twitter. That's what the lane she was going. You like that? Pro-censorship liberals.
Speech, actually. You go to the extreme when you're protecting free speech, because if you don't protect the most hateful speech, you don't really protect any speech. I mean, there are exceptions like inciting violence and that kind of thing.
Right.
But most speech is protected. And so, you know, if he's talking about making this the public square, I guess that's okay, because really under the Communications Act, Twitter, social media, they're just third-party platforms. They're not necessarily considered publishers. They're not necessarily considered the people that are, you know, putting the stuff out there. They're just a platform. What we really need to think about is, why is it a hellscape? It's a hellscape because of the people that are on it and the vitriol that anonymously they think they can spew out there.
Yeah.
Well, and therein lies the problem is social media's had a way of bringing out kind of the worst in humanity.
This girl is on here now? She was on the Hill, and she was terrible on the Hill. But anyway, let's continue. I didn't know she was on here. I don't watch the show.
And it does, by the way, there's a lot of good stuff that's come from social media, but people give in to their basest instincts when they're hidden behind, you know, anonymity.
Behind the cat icon.
Yeah,
And
what are it? I don't understand. What are they describing? It all feels like a hypothetical discussion of all the bad things that can happen. But what is the most egregious thing? Outside of a threat of murder or killing, like, of course that. But what? Somebody calling you what? Somebody calling you a cracker, a nigger, wetbag? What? What, like, that's what I'm saying. We're talking as if it feels like the description of what's happening on these platforms don't match what's happening on the platforms. I think that's the clearest way I can put it. It just doesn't match. Like, this conversation doesn't match.
The frog and all of
every
that,
one
the
of us
dog.
has gotten the vitriol and the hatred, and it's interesting because
The
democracy.
vitriol and hatred, it feels to me, are you putting people who disagree with you and calling you a lame, stupid moron? Is that the hellscape you're talking about? You want to be able, like Ilhan Omar, you want to be able to go out and say your Russiagate talking points and nobody come back and say that's dumb as fuck? Is that what we're talking about?
Democracy's never really been stress tested for the digital age. I'd say the closest we got, frankly, was the insurrection and Donald Trump using it as, you know, an incitement tool.
Yeah.
But here's where the free speech debate, and I think Elon Musk has a huge uphill battle here to figure out how he's going to control or, you know, have a free speech platform without having just actual hatred out there.
Yeah.
The problem is this. Ayatollah Khamenei, the leader of Iran, who's overseeing the egregious human rights abuses against these women who are bravely speaking out, is on.
So here is the interjection. Like, you got to interject this Kawani guy. It's like, just to again, it doesn't match what's happening. It feels like the conversation is at level 10, but the level of the vitriol is at level 2. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense to me. That the red and blue teams are arguing about this hard. What has happened?
On Twitter. I think it's hard to argue that then the former president of the United States can't be on. So I don't wish this problem upon anyone. I do think Trump's going to be back. I think it's only a matter of days.
Yeah, he'll be back.
But some good news for you ladies at the table. I think it hurts him to be on Twitter. I don't think his crazy statements get.
If that's what you think, that alone should just get you fired off of this channel, because that's a terrible take. Either that or she just saying bullshit to be on to pander to this audience. So she can be like, see, I'm a conservative. I don't think it's a good idea he'll be on Twitter. For the audience. She's at The View, remember?
Get as much pickup on Truth Social as they did on Twitter. This past week, he came after me on Truth Social. No one noticed it. It was like if a tree falls in the woods, only that little kind of sector who's on
Twitter
Truth saw it.
different?
Twitter's different. He's going to
So
have.
he can. Where is that at? Sorry, I had another video playing in my ear. So why I stopped it was, so it kind of taints what she has to say, because she just said he came after her. So all of what she's saying to me is tainted, and I can't believe. But I think that's enough of the video. Let's end it in this segment with a couple of an article that covers this, and we're gonna go to Elon Musk Twitter. So let's round it out with a little bit more detail. Let's see what news outlets come up here. Of course, they're going to be corporate, but this story, I think it really matters much. I do think this is interesting. Wow, this is so lame. This is so lame. All right, so let me click on one of these. This is so fucking lame. So this is Time. Deleting Twitter after Elon Musk takeover? Try these alternatives. This is so like I said, I keep saying, like, this doesn't match what's actually happening. You're deleting Twitter. You're deleting yourself off of Twitter because of this. Oh, let me see. JB's here. Let's see what JB says right here. He says something. Alert, CJ, I sent you a tweet thread that breaks down Elon Musk's background and how it matters for us. Not sure if you went over it. I just joined. Oh, gotcha. I mean, you just joined the stream. Thank you for sending that to me, JB. So this is Time, and that's an article from Time. But anyway, let's find what I'm looking for. But I just thought that was just ridiculous. Let's continue. Let's go to this ABC News report, because it's only not even an hour old. This looks like the newest one that I saw. So this is ABC News, and the headline is Elon Musk becomes Twitter's chief twit. And I think that's what he put in his profile, and that's why they're saying that. Oh, so I guess this is a video. Wow, I was looking for an article, but this is a video. It's a new video, so let's give it a chance. Let's listen.
Red Riding Hood love.
Oh, they have a commercial, of course. Now, this is not part of Twitter, so I don't have any effect on this. This is their website, and they're playing a commercial. It seems like this time is not going down. Why does this time not seem like it's going down? But anyway, the headline or the subheadline is ABC News business reporter Alex Christoforous breaks down what to expect from Twitter now that Elon Musk deal has been complete. So let's listen to this ABC News reporter.
Is free, so says Elon Musk, now official owner of Twitter. What does the new boss have in store? For more, let's bring in ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous. Alexis, good to see you, friend. We've been waiting for this moment. At first, it was like, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Elon is officially in charge. What changes should users expect to see on the platform going forward?
Well, good to see you as always, Kenneth. And the changes have already begun at Twitter. Shortly after the takeover was completed, Elon Musk fired the top 4 executives at Twitter, including the CEO and CFO. And my sources tell me now other employees are being let go today. He also changed his Twitter bio to Chief Twit. He is a self-described free speech absolutist. He wants to limit content moderation on the platform, which currently has guidelines on things like removing violence and hate speech and other offensive content from the site. He says he wants this to be a digital town square for free speech. What that's going to look like, we just don't know. He's talked about having a customizable Twitter that lets you maybe curate your own experience, like if you were to watch a movie or a video game online. So Twitter, whether you love it or hate it, it's one of the most influential social media sites we have, and it is now controlled by the richest person in the world. And what that means for online discourse in the future is yet to be seen.
The richest Chief Twit, who can call himself Chief Twit because he's rich and the richest man. That will never not be funny to me, Chief Twit. Okay.
Yeah, I think he meant it to be such, so yeah.
Yeah. So Alexis, Twitter shares have been delisted from the New York Stock Exchange, and as Elon Musk takes the company private, what does that mean for existing shareholders?
So great question. And what this is it amounts to a payday for people who own shares of Twitter. The buyout price of $44 billion works out to $54.20 a share. So just to give you a nice round number, if you owned 100 shares of Twitter, you'll be getting a payment of $5,420. But of course, you're going to have to pay capital gains tax on that, as you would for any stock going forward, any stock sale. But some are saying that this is not the end of Twitter as a publicly traded company, that after he sort of retools the company and hopefully makes it profitable, he may actually bring it back to the public market.
Okay, so if he's saying the bird is free, many have speculated that he could lift a permanent ban on those who have been banned, like former President Trump's Twitter account. Is that likely?
Yet to be seen, but certainly he was critical of that permanent ban when it happened. He said that he called bans like those foolish to the extreme when Twitter banned former President Trump after the insurrection of January 6th. At the time, he said he would invite the president back on the site if he were to own it, but we don't know if that's happened yet.
And finally, Alexis, I just have to ask you, why would Elon Musk make this deal? He's spending $44 billion.
I don't need to hear their capitalist slant to that. So that is where we're going to end it. He is definitely a union buster. I believe somebody mentioned that earlier. My stance on this, I don't really have a stance. Like I haven't felt any difference. Like I said, I would love to see Donald Trump back on the platform. Anybody that has a permanent ban, I like that being lifted. Outside of that, what I use this platform for, other than reading a couple of DMs and tweeting out some stuff and retweeting, nothing's really going to affect me. So I think the issue is sort of this change going from a bunch of billionaires, a bunch of millionaires, a bunch of people, a bunch of ruling class people running this company to just one, doesn't do much for me. So let's end it there. We're going to go and move to the other main story, and that is Pelosi's home attacked. So I already saw some people saying they thought this was a false flag, and I think that was on what was it? On Rockfin. I think I saw the false flag comment. Hang on, let me type this. Okay, so all right, so I just replied to JB sending me a message. All right, so let's now bring up the other video before we start here. So I do want to get your comments. So I'm going to try to remember to do this every time. So put your comments up for the story about Nancy Pelosi. So what do you think is happening with Nancy Pelosi? Nancy Pelosi's home was not burglarized, but somebody showed up at Nancy Pelosi's home with a hammer, I believe, hit her husband, who was the only one there. She was back in Washington. They live in California. Right? But this is like wall-to-wall news. It's taking up the entire news coverage. So to me, that plays a part in my answer. I won't give it away. I was almost about to say what I thought about it, but what are your thoughts before I get to that? What are your thoughts on what is going on with this? With Nancy Pelosi? Is this something legitimate that happened to her, or you think this is something? I think it was on Status Quo, is where I heard the false flag, because he was saying they think it's dumb, and heard people saying that they think this is a false flag because of the midterms. So let's listen to the police chief of San Francisco, William Scott, talk about, I believe they say the suspect has been apprehended, or it says police reveal identity of man who attacked Pelosi's husband. So let's listen.
At approximately 2:27 this morning, San Francisco police officers were dispatched.
My bad. I'm so anxious to get it started. I'm supposed to Pelosi's home attack. Yeah, I'm supposed to look at your comments first. So let's do that. Comments on Pelosi. That's what we're doing. Comments on Pelosi, and the thing, her home being burglarized. What are your thoughts on it? Have you seen the coverage? What is your thoughts on the coverage? Maybe I'll play a little bit of the coverage so you can see how corporate media is playing this wall to wall. We're at 350 likes, like the stream. Let's see if we can push to 400 likes. Join our Substack so you can get notifications of streams like this, or the stream that Nick did with Glenn Greenwald a few days ago. So like this stream. Let's push to 400 likes. We're at 353. So that's only 47 more likes to get to 400. And now let's get to this Pelosi story and this news coverage here.
At approximately 2:27 this morning, San Francisco police officers were dispatched to the residence of Speaker Nancy Pelosi regarding an A-priority well-being check. When the officers arrived on scene, they encountered an adult male and Mr. Pelosi's husband, Paul. Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody, requested emergency backup, and rendered medical aid. The suspect has been identified as 42-year-old David DePepe. Mr. Pelosi and Mr. DePepe were transported to a local hospital for treatment. This is an active investigation currently being led by the San Francisco Police Department Special Investigations Division. We are working closely with our partners from the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Capitol Police, and our district attorney here in San Francisco County, DA Brooke Jenkins, and her team. The motive for this attack is still being determined. Mr. DePepe will be booked at the San Francisco County Jail on the following charges: attempted homicide, assault with a deadly weapon, elder abuse, burglary, and several other additional felonies. Before I go any further, I'd like to thank the responding officers for their swift action this morning. Those San Francisco police officers are Officer Colby Wilmus, Officer Kyle Cagney, and Sergeant Edmund Hoang. I'd also like to thank our emergency dispatcher, Heather Grimes, who's standing here to my left, for a really amazing job. For inquiries regarding Mr. Pelosi and his condition, we refer you to the statement issued by Speaker Pelosi's office this morning. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our district attorney, Brooke Jenkins, for a few brief comments. And let me say in advance, this is what we know at this time. We will update you further, but we will not be able to take any questions after this statement.
Thank you, Chief Scott. And I do want to.
Why won't you take questions after the statement? Is that because you want a particular narrative? I would like to know, what are the injuries? That's going to tell me whether this is legit or not. Because just saying he's in surgery for what? What's the injury? Because a rich person may be getting surgery that's something that a poor person would get stitches for. So that doesn't tell me anything. But I get the suspicion of it being literally a week or so, 10 days or so before the election. And this happens within 10 days of election, and the Democrats are collapsing before our eyes. It's suspicious. It's suspicious to me. That's not to say this didn't really happen. I'm just saying it is very suspicious, and I want to see what is the injuries that he received. Are these superficial or are these real injuries? Because a hammer, and you know what I mean? If somebody gets you in a hammer and you're getting surgery, that has to be a real injury. So to me, and we may not find out what the injury is. They may just talk about it and never show you because they don't want you to see that it's bullshit if it is. So just some comments I'll throw up. Doesn't look like there's a lot of love lost for people like this, even if it is real. It doesn't look like there's a lot of love lost. Wow. Yeah, doesn't look like this is everybody kind of saying who cares pretty much. Both had a hammer. Let's listen to what she says.
I want to commend the San Francisco Police Department for their immediate response.
This thanking the police department for what the fuck is that mean? Do you there is no need to do that if those people are doing that job normally and people see them in that way. You have to go out and project and say that these people are doing this good thing over here because people don't see them as doing good things. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, why are we praising people who are getting paid? What do you mean they responded so quickly? You mean to a 911 call? Isn't that the purpose? So it's this praise for something that's to be normal. Why? Why?
To this home and for swiftly making sure.
I think because it's Pelosi, they're making sure you say that shit. Because remember, defund the police. So they're trying to say, see, police saved who? Because the police is always saving the ruling class. That's who the police is here for. And their property. So to pretend like the heroic efforts of the police in this instance is the same heroic efforts of the police of somebody that works at Walmart is a fucking joke.
Or that Mr. Pelosi was okay and that the suspect was apprehended. We are working closely with them right now with respect to the investigation and will proceed with the appropriate charges as things unfold, as well as work with the U.S. Attorney's Office and our federal partners. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for being here. I know you may have
questions, but this is dealing with Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, and you know that shit. I can't say shit, but we can. They go into talking. Let's listen to some of their talk.
Told us that officers were dispatched around 2:20 local time there in San Francisco to the home of Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Her husband was there at the time when they arrived with the suspect. He said both were holding hammers at the time. And it sounded like, if I was understanding it correctly, you heard as well, that when they arrived, the suspect then attacked Paul Pelosi with the hammer. And then officers moved in and apprehended him. Both Paul Pelosi and the suspect were taken to an area hospital where we are told Paul Pelosi is expected to fully recover, according to the statement we got from Nancy Pelosi's office earlier today.
This is a great point. Why isn't Nancy Pelosi a suspect? Isn't that an attempted murder? Wasn't she not anywhere to be found? If you watch these murder shows, that was the spouse is the number one person. So that's it's. I mean, I don't know if you mean it to be funny, but that's a good point there. And maybe that's the reason why they said there's no questions to this. No questions. But I had not thought of that. But that's a good point to bring up. One thing I want to make sure I get, I'm going to pause this story 1 second. One thing I want to make sure I get to. Yeah, I guess I get to the Emma Vigeland story after this. I'm trying to see which one should I make sure I get to, because the squad members are being targeted. I think I'm going to do a different stream just on that, and we're going to cover all of the protests against the squad members and what it means. So maybe I'll set that one aside. So let's bring up then, actually, let's listen a little more here, and then I'm going to bring up the Chuck Schumer story next. So let's listen a little more to what she says here.
We also learned the identity of the man in custody. 42-year-old David DePepe is his name. We don't know much about him, but we have learned that he will be booked on several potential charges, including attempted homicide, elder abuse, burglary, and others. I think that sums up the new information that we got from this press conference. Let's bring back some of our guests.
The lack of information, the lack of a picture of the guy. This to me is feeding into this story, not knowing I haven't heard the description of the injuries that he's receiving this surgery. So I'm not saying this is fake. I'm just saying the scales are starting to tip to where I'm not sure all of the story is believable here. Because the news conference, the guy put out the statement and said there will be no questions after that. They have the guy in custody. They have Pelosi at the hospital. Why aren't we getting more details? Now, maybe there's details in another news stream. But why?
Yes, and I'll start with you, Evan Perez. Just bring our viewers up to speed now that we have a little bit fuller picture on what we know at this hour.
Yeah, and it appears that the police were responding to some kind of wellness check, and it's not clear what triggered that, whether it was a security system or whether there was some other reason that perhaps Mr. Pelosi was able to get someone to get the police to come to the residence. But the fact is, the police were inside the home, and they saw it. According to the police there, they saw at least a part of the attack take place, which was Mr. Pelosi was holding the hammer with the suspect, David DePape, and they saw him carry out at least some of the assault that he is now charged with. That they were able to take custody of him. We have now gotten a little bit of a better picture of this suspect. Some of our
Yeah, he's stumbling over this word. It's starting to be slow. Let's read this comment by Morris Brown. No, this is all funny. Who cares about this Pelosi issue? Why is this important? This is ginned up story. This is the point that I'm making too. is that, let's just say this is true. Why is it taking up the entire news hour? So your show was an hour and it takes up the entire show? Really? Why isn't this a segment? One segment. So it is being juiced up. If it's real, it's being like it's like being drawn out. That's a better way. It's being drawn out. I guess I can I could show you so let's go to YouTube TV. I can show you an actual news coverage where you'll see this. Is it important? Yeah, it is important. It is important. I'll do it in a sort of time elapse, not actually watch it, but I'll show you to see how long the entire news broadcast was the same story. And this is Inside Politics with John King. So let's hear how they start off, and then I'm going to show you how it's the entire news coverage. All right, so let's connect the Wi-Fi and the
anywhere for less, a lot less. Get our special TV offer of.
So this is actually TV, so I don't have any control over the commercials. This is not regular YouTube. So this is TV. So we're gonna listen to not watch all of it, but we're gonna watch the beginnings of an actual broadcast so you can see.
Hello and welcome to Inside Politics. I'm John King in Washington. We begin the hour with breaking news: a brazen and violent assault. Paul Pelosi, the husband of the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, brutalized in their San Francisco home. Police say this attack happened overnight after a man broke in. The speaker was here in Washington. Her 82-year-old husband is now in the hospital, expected, the speaker's office says, to make a full recovery. A police briefing is scheduled for later this hour. We will go there live when it happens. At this moment, we're still trying to fill in the big question. What was the motive here? The male suspect is in custody. The FBI still at the Pelosi home in San Francisco. Sources telling CNN that assailant used a hammer to beat Mr. Pelosi. CNN's Jamie Gangel has been talking to sources and joins us now with some important breaking news. Jamie, what can you tell us?
John, it appears we may actually have the motive, or at least part of the motive. I've just been told by a source who was briefed on the attack that the assailant who attacked Paul Pelosi was actually in search for the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. That before the assault occurred, in other words, before he attacked Pelosi, the intruder confronted the Speaker's husband in their home and was shouting, quote, "Where is Nancy? Where is Nancy?" So, John, again, this is from a source who was briefed on the attack, who says before he physically assaulted the Speaker's husband, he was clearly looking for Pelosi herself. Quote, "Where is Nancy? Where is Nancy?" John.
Jamie Gangel joining us with that breaking news. Jamie, stand by. I want to bring in our senior justice correspondent, Evan Perez. Evan, you've been tracking what police are learning. What more can you tell us about this investigation and about this just brazen, violent assault?
Well, John, we know now that the FBI is still at the scene there at the Pelosi home in San Francisco. Of course, this happened in the early morning hours. If the speaker had been there, there would have been a security detail from the U.S. Capitol Police. They were not there because she was not at home. They got there very quickly, and now we're told that this is an investigation being done jointly by the FBI with the Capitol Police and the San Francisco Police Department. And of course, the big question that I think Jamie is beginning to help answer is, why the FBI would be involved, and this perhaps might explain it. If the assailant was trying to carry out this attack in search of the speaker, if there was some kind of political motivation, perhaps those would be the reasons why the FBI would be playing a big role in this investigation. Again, we're expecting to hear a lot more from the police.
The FBI, I don't know, man. I don't know. The signs are not pointing to everything about this story being authentic to me. Okay. Don't use my threshold to be your threshold. Now, I'm just going to time lapse this to show you how. Oh, wow. They talk about something else here. Oh, let's listen to this. Here's the discussion. Wow. Okay. So they're going to talk about it at the round table. So let's listen to this discussion here.
Affairs, and when they are, they take that out on the party and power. But John, I don't want to let this opportunity get away without talking about what happened overnight in San Francisco, because it does feel like we're living at a moment where there's two parallel camps.
So here is where they had moved on to kind of talk about the midterms and polling, and this guy brings in what happens to the Pelosi to the story, which in my opinion is not happenstance. This is where they're going to use it. So yes, they're talking about polling. I'm going to rewind it a little bit, but understand I'm fast forwarding into this part because he brings up the Pelosi part. So it starts with the polling, but this is part of the same segment.
In Wisconsin, midterm elections are traditionally about turning out your base. That's part of Obama's role. The question is it enough?
It's going to be difficult for, I think, Obama or any political surrogate to help Democrats at this point in the campaign in an election, which obviously, to put it in sports terms, is an away game for the Democratic Party. People are largely upset about the state of affairs, and when they are, they take that out on the party and power. But John, I don't want to let this opportunity get away without talking about what happened overnight in San Francisco, because it does feel like we're living at a moment where there's two parallel campaigns. Most Americans, understandably, are focused on gas prices, on inflation. But the other campaign that's happening at the same time is our democracy is facing enormous challenges right now. A lot of this happens online. People don't really think it's that big of a deal. What happened overnight is important in this country because what's been taking place largely online moved offline into real life. There was an attempted assassination of the Speaker of the House, apparently.
Attempted assassination of the Speaker of the House. Let's listen to some more of this propagandist here. Let's listen.
Apparently, last night. You saw earlier somebody get arrested outside Brett Kavanaugh's house. That both of those things I think are hugely important that are happening in this country because all of these threats that we all talk about, that we all know take place, have been largely emails, phone calls, letters. It's now moving closer to these people. Brett Kavanaugh, Nancy Pelosi. That is deeply.
Brett Kavanaugh, Nancy Pelosi. What he's pointing out here is that the peasants are fed up. And no longer are they just screaming and sending emails. They're showing up to our fucking house. So that's what he's trying to point out. Again, CNN is for the petty bourgeoisie who think they're in the ruling class. Understand their audience, who they're talking to. They're not talking to you and me. Even though we have access to the channel, it is not for us. So he's speaking to the petty bourgeoisie. This is why it's so easy to sell them on police budgets increasing. The peasants are about to get out and get crazy on us, while all not addressing the issues that sort of breeds this discontentment. Because if you had a nation that was fulfilling the material needs or ensuring that everybody's material needs are being met, I guarantee you wouldn't have instances like this. If you had political parties who are delivering the things that they're saying to people instead of just delivering broken promises, you wouldn't have things like this. But addressing those two things, these last things I just mentioned, means to address capital, and that's just something they're not going to do. That is something they're just simply not going to do. It is a story, JB. I was going to say CJ. that annoys me because it annoys me because of what the other comment says. Nobody give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about this person, Pelosi. So whether it's a false flag and they're just trying to use this for the midterms, or whether this actually happens, who gives a fuck? Just like with January 6th, the people who are dropping bombs on black and brown countries, the people who are funding the military police state that's killing us, the people who are refusing to up our way of life, those poor and working class people, I'm supposed to feel sorry for anything that happens to them? I don't think so. I don't think so. Not whatsoever. Don't give a fuck about what happened to you January 6th. Fuck you. Don't care whatsoever. So, and the same thing here. Pelosi, oh, you mean the guy who has been doing insider trading, making millions. That guy got hit with a hammer? And what? What is it? What? And what? Why are you telling me this? You get what I'm saying? Like, you get the point. You get the point. Like, who gives a fuck? But it's wall to wall. It's just like January 6th hearings. From sun up to sundown, they plan that shit. It's intentional. They're going to make you be a part of this propaganda, whether you like it or not. You either got to turn off the news for several months to miss January 6th. If you turn it on one day to say they can't possibly still be talking about it, yes, they are. And that's how they get these people into these things. Let's go to regular YouTube and let's end it with this short video. It's like a 1-minute video of I'm pretty sure my wife, let's see here, left. Okay, I sent a text just to be sure. All right, so let's do this. Chuck Schumer. We're gonna go to this final story we have, and it's about Chuck Schumer lets it slip out about the state of play in these midterms for the Democratic Party. So it's the first video they have on Fox News. Of course, they're calling it out. But let's listen. Who do we want to listen to this on? That's Telegram. We're going to listen to a bunch of them. We'll listen to a couple of videos that has critique, that has analysis along with it. And then we'll just listen to this video, for example, that only shows the conversation. There's no commentary, nothing like that. It just shows the conversation. So here it goes. I'm going to turn the sound on in just a second here. But this is Chuck Schumer. Schumer on hot mic. I think that's how you spell Schumer. At speller, you know what it is. You know what I mean. So Schumer on hot mic. I think that's spelled right. But so let's listen now to this video. And you got to kind of read the letters to wording. Towards the end, the sound gets better, but in the beginning, it's not that great. So let's listen.
He is. That scene, we're in danger of that scene. Taking it back. We're in yes. Let's see. Well, we're, it looks like the debate didn't hurt us as much in Pennsylvania as it did, so that's good. And we're basically we're picking up steam on that. Yeah. Right.
So I'm gonna read. I let it play. Now I'm gonna read what he's saying on the screen here. Let me turn the sound off here. So the state where we're going downhill is Georgia. That's what he says here. He says the state where we're going downhill is Georgia. And then let's see what else he says here. Let's let it play. It's hard to believe that they will go for Herschel Walker and there's a clip. So let's now go to a clip that is more part of a broader analysis. And I thought it was okay. Oh, wow. MSNBC covers this. So let's see what MSNBC says about this hot mic moment. And it looks like this was on, he always appears on Morning Joe. So let's listen. So Morning Joe is a show for all the White House people, all the people who actually, all the Congress people, they watch Morning Joe. So let's listen.
Democrats also playing a little defense, believe it or not, in the state of New York. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was in Syracuse yesterday for the president's visit to that city. While they were on the tarmac, a hot mic picked up Schumer's assessment of where Democrats stand in key Senate races. We've put the verbatim quotes on the screen in case it's difficult to hear him over those plane engines. Take a look.
So hopefully you can see the caption, but this is the same part that we covered, and then we'll pick up once the commentary begins. Oh, the other video didn't play all of it. It says, but our vote, our early turnout in Georgia is huge.
Speaking of that turnout, Georgia voters indeed are shattering early voting records for midterm elections. More than 1.1 million people already have cast their ballots in person. That's over 500,000 more votes than at this point in the last midterm elections in 2018.
So no commentary on it. So it looks like we're just going to have to go to Fox News. I tried to get somebody else. Didn't want to go to Fox, but it looks like Fox is the only one that's going to talk about it a little more. So let's do that, and then we're going to close this out. And he's showing how Democrats are spread out, and they're hitting all these places. They're desperate, but let's listen.
Just ask Senator Chuck Schumer.
We can skip past this part since we've heard it a couple of times, and let's just listen to the commentary. This guy's a freaking buffoon idiot. So, but let's listen and be entertained.
In 5 minutes.
I love hot mic moments.
No, you don't.
Well,
it's going to happen to you one day, Shimkus. Believe
I just
me.
think it's interesting to be a fly on the wall. You're right. It's not good for the person that's caught in the hot mic.
You didn't have a room that you were going to go to on, I don't know, to your point, 5 minutes?
And the thing is, you have a 70-something Chuck Schumer talking to an almost 80 Joe Biden. Of course they're going to yell. Yeah. And there's cameras like 10 feet away. And I was on with Kayleigh McEnany yesterday, and she had a pretty good theory that that was intentional.
It could be.
Right.
Yeah, it did seem sort of staged. I agree with that.
Right.
So we're talking about Georgia. There's concern there. Politico has a headline, interesting headline out this morning, and it warns that it's going to be ugly for Democrats as all signs point to a Republican landslide in Florida. And the piece talks about how Democratic donors are abandoning the state because it's no longer competitive.
Nor should it be.
According to Democrats.
Right. Ron DeSantis is probably the most popular governor in the country right now based on his performance. And Charlie Crist is a profoundly horrible candidate. And obviously that's going to trickle down to Marco Rubio.
Yeah, and they're just kind of talk about the shellacking that the Democrats are looking like they're going to have, because it's not looking good. And I covered it. I don't need to go into it. I've covered it in the last 4 days. I've done several streams, a lot more streams than I want to do on this upcoming midterm, but it had to be done because that's the news. So anytime we get close to elections, there's always going to be an uptick in the coverage of the electoral political system. But I believe we've come to the end of our stream for today, Friday. I think I'm going to try to come tomorrow and Sunday. Oops, wrong one. The one I'm trying to share is this Marlon Brando clip. We're going to leave you with speaking some truth here. This Marlon Brando clip. So this is the clip we're going to end with. But before we do that, like I said, I'll be here tomorrow. I don't think there's any news that I'm missing here. Let me see if anybody put anything out that I should make sure I say something about. Let's check this account. And if you know any stories, oh, I see your comments. Is there anything? What is this? That says John Fetterman. I see Fox News talking about Biden attack. Jimmy Dore smeared again. Okay, so nothing I miss. Jake Uger says he's voting for Rick Caruso. Oh, that was the other thing I was gonna cover, but I think I'll do it another time. It's not a big deal. The Emma story. Let's end today with Marlon Brando. Please like this stream on your way out. That'll help people who aren't on our Substack and didn't see this live have it appear in their notifications. The more people like it, the more people they'll notify on YouTube, if at all. So we're at 419. If we can push to 450, let's see if we can get to 450 before the stream ends. Join our Substack also. Join our Substack if you want to get notifications of streams like this or the ones we're doing tomorrow and Sunday. So I'm doing a stream tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. If you want to get notifications of those streams, because these aren't regular streams, then follow us on Substack. Follow us on Substack, and you will get that notification tomorrow and Sunday of the streams we will be doing. Subscribe to us. We hit 24,000 during the stream today. We crossed 24,000. So subscribe to us. We're trying to get to 30,000 and also like the stream. Now, here is Marlon Brando being kind of based in this video. I won't describe it too much, but it's very based. Let's listen.
It just simply doesn't apply. And we were the most rapacious, aggressive, destructive, torturing, monstrous people who swept from one coast to the other, murdering and causing mayhem among the Indians